Alright, hello everyone. This is going to be update number 4 for my isometric farming game for the color computer. Uh, and just want to start by giving an update on where I'm at with it and what's changed since the last video. So, first thing I did after the last video was I did a bunch of code cleanup and organization. It's still not 100%, but it's more to where I want it. So that took me a bit to get that done, but that's like I said, it's not completely done, but it's pretty clean now. So I'm happy with that. There will be more required once the game's done, but right now I think it's in a good spot for where I am. Um, so what I did after since then is I wanted to put a timing system in the game to be able to essentially show the passage of time. Like I said in the last video, I want to have seasons, so I want seasons to come and go, and different things will change in the game based on that. There'll be different growth rates for the different crops, and you'll also have different values for what you're selling based on the season as well. Um, so that's to come. That's probably going to be the next feature I'm going to look to install along with the actual selling of the crops. Um, Another thing I want to bring up, just maybe somebody has had this experience and knows how to fix it, but I have a ton of clicking in my headset when I am running the game in MAME. And I'm pretty sure it's just MAME because I don't get it on the recording. So if anybody's ever had that, or if that's an issue with MAME that I'm not aware of on the, I guess on Linux, because I don't remember ever having it happen on the Windows version when I was running that, but I never ran this particular program there, so it's hard to say. But if anybody's aware of the clicking, scratching noise in the headphones, let me know. It seems to coincide with the graphics here with the numbers. Um, so maybe it's part of that, but I still don't quite know why it's clicking like that. So if anybody knows or can point me in a direction to figure that out, I'd appreciate it. Speaking of these numbers, this top number is what I'm using as a cycle counter. Essentially, that's the number of times through the main game loop in the software. It counts up right now to 71, I believe, and then it ticks over, and I'm counting that as a second. It's not 100% accurate timing because it's using the game loop as its time base. So if the game is doing more in a loop, this loop than it did last loop, it's going to be slightly slower than the last loop. And of course, if it's doing a lot of things, it's going to be even slower. But over an average, I think it's pretty close to to be able to call it a decent time base like that. So even though I'm calling it cycles and seconds and also minutes and such, it's not 100%. It's not accurate. It's not based off of any time, like the timing interrupted the game or anything like that. So basically, how I got there is that I went in to establish the time base in the game and realized that the way I was getting my keyboard input was actually using a wait key sort of implementation. So the program would essentially halt and wait for keyboard input before it would move on, which obviously is halting the game loop and is not allowing for any sort of timing mechanism. So I looked around, and found a way to go to a method where I actually go pull the keyboard um, directly, or well, actually indirectly, but essentially you look at two different memory I/O locations. I don't remember I think it's FFOO and FFO2 maybe. I don't remember the exact addresses, but essentially it's two addresses, and one is the address of the um, call the column of the matrix for the keys, and the other one's the rows for the matrix of the keys. And you set one of them, and then you look at the other one, and then based on what the other one, the output of the other one ends up being, once you go through a little bit of bit masking, tells you what key has been pressed, so you can check for that and then take action based on that. So I moved into that, and when I did that, that allowed me to get into uh, what you see now with being able to have a time base. So after that, what I did was I made sure all my keys still, did what they were supposed to do in a way that made sense, and I went and drew all the sprites for the different growth states of the four crops, along with the grass and weeds, and implemented that based on passage of time. So essentially, right now, the way it's set up, every 30 seconds gives a tick to growth, and that grows everything. So even if you just planted something, if you plant it at the 25th second in the loop, you're going to get a growth, 5 seconds later when it updates. So that's the way it's written right now. Like I said, I'm going to change the time base for each crop individually, so that they won't all update at the same time, depending on what season it is and what have you. But that's not implemented yet. So I did that, went through, and I made the code for the actual cycling of the different textures for the life, the stage of life that the particular crop is in, based on how many ticks of growth have occurred since it was planted. One other change you'll notice is that I changed from gourd to wheat, just simply because I thought the gourd was going to end up looking too much like either the melon or the pumpkin, so I wanted something slightly different in look, so I changed to wheat. And it also happened to be yellow, which wheat kind of, I think of yellow when I think of wheat, so that kind of made sense to me. I still have not implemented any of the cache counting yet, or the AI yet. That will come after I implement the selling point value area with the values. But let me show you how this works now. So as you can see, I can still move my cursor. Oh, I also moved the cursor to work with the arrow keys instead of the up, down, left, right keyboard keys. So that's changed. So I can cycle my cursor just like I could before. I'll go to my plow cursor, and we'll plow this ground. Now I also have it set up so that if you plow and don't put anything there, the next grow tick, you'll see that it will start growing grass. So that's the first grass texture. And if we let this run, you'll see that that will grow in eventually to look just like the rest of these. So let's go over here and put some crops in so you can see what that looks like as they're cycling. So I'll put one of each crop here, assuming that I can get it done before my timer clicks over on me. We'll see. So there's some tomatoes. There's a melon. There's a pumpkin. And there's some wheat. So we can sit and watch those grow. It'll take about half a minute. So you can see that the grass grew into a second stage. You can also see all three of these grew into a second stage, although they only took about 5 or 10 seconds to do it, because like I said, it's working. They're all growing off of each tick, irregardless of when they're actually planted, or that original texture is put there. So if we keep to watching this, you'll see the continuation. So that's what I'll call life stage number 2 right now for the crop. And then here comes life stage number 3. So you can see that it changed to its third stage now. And we wait another 25 seconds here ish. I guess I could have changed this number to a lower number, but it'll be good enough for now, I guess. Let's let this cycle through. Sorry. Also, another thing that I noticed, I'm getting some white dots again. I'm not quite sure why that is, so I'm gonna have to probably go dive in the code and figure that out. If I run my cursor over it, they go away. So it must have something to do with the placement of the Life Stage 3 grass texture, but I'm not quite sure what it is. So, all right, now you can see that all the grass that was over here in this area is back to full Life Stage 3. You can also see that the white came back when they got replaced. So that's what leads me to think that it's something to do with the Life Stage 3 grass texture, but I still haven't completely figured that out. We also got our 4 crops are now in Life Stage 3, so we can go up there and I can change to my harvest texture. Now when I harvest, if you watch, you'll see my tomato number will go up by 1, so we harvest, and it also starts putting grass in that spot right away as well. You see melon, pumpkin, and wheat. That second piece there is what's left over of the 0 from what was there previously, so I need to correct that as well so that it gets rid of that piece. I haven't quite got there yet, but I think I know how I'm going to fix that. So that's how the cycling of all the crops works. As you can see, it's going to put grass back in there to grow back in. So if you don't do anything after you harvest something, you will end up with grass fully grown back into that tile. And end up eventually back to where you started with everything as grass and weeds. Let's see, is there anything else to talk about? I think that might be about it. No, I think that is about it. That's about as far as we got. You can see where I am at with where we where I got the code to this point. Like I said, next is going to be implementing the selling point and the seasons, and the variance of growing time and pricing based on the season. And after that, it will be adding cash in for when you sell something, and also your costs to grow to plant the crop in the first place. And then eventually, after that, I'll work on the AI to play against. That's it. I'm still looking for a name for the game, so if anybody out there has any suggestions, please leave a message or comment on the video, or on Facebook. You can also leave a comment there as well. All right, that's all I have for now. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next time.